All right. Shalom, shalom, family. Shalom, shalom. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. Peace and blessings to everybody in the chat and who will be tuning in later. Shalom, shalom once more. And today we have a special guest with us today. And once I get done with everything, I'm gonna let him introduce himself so you all can get acquainted with him. But of course, before we get started, we're gonna give our praises, honor, and glory to our Father above, to our Elohim for giving us the ability to gather here today to rejoice in his name and to, talk about the history of his dispersed ones beyond the rivers of Ethiopia. All right. So without further ado, I bring to you the coolest African on YouTube, right? Go ahead and introduce yourself and tell the family about yourself. What's your name, where you're from, what you do, all type of things.
Um, my name is Ramalik Jefferson, which sounds very foreign, but I was born and raised in Ghana, moved to Massachusetts when I was about 14, and at about 17, or a little before 17, I moved back to Ghana, where I actually lived for about 8 years, and then moved back to New York City in 2015, and I've been living in New York City in the New York, area ever since. But I came across your page on your YouTube when I pretty much um like I'm a searcher of knowledge, So I was just pretty much in the last year I've just been um should I say like well focused on just finding out African history, you know. So ever since then I've just been focused on that and doing a lot of research on my own and trying to do a lot of comparison from my experiences living in Ghana and you know and the upbringing that I got from my parents and my grandparents in Ghana. Luckily, I have my grandmother who's still living, so you know at least I got to hang around her most of the time. So I definitely got some knowledge from my grandmother.
Hmm.
Yeah, but that's the little I have to say right now.
Okay, so that sounds good. So you say you grew up in Ghana, right? You came over to the United States, Massachusetts early, went back to Ghana, and now you're back over in the United States. So what tribe or are you from? So where did you grow? Like what city did you grow up in Ghana specifically? And what tribe are you from?
Okay, so um, coming from a from a Ghanaian background, usually you belong to a tribe where either a paternal tribe or your maternal tribe. But usually people are more geared towards the paternal tribe because they feel like that's the father, so you need to belong to the tribe that your father belongs to.
Right.
So my dad is my dad's dad is Fonty, and that's how I get the last name Jefferson. And my dad's mother is gone. So my dad is both gone and Fonty. So I'm both gone and Fonty, on my dad's side. But my mom is Akan also. She belongs to the Ikuapim tribe, and that is on her father's side. And her mother's side, she is Ewe. So pretty much like I belong to all these four different groups, coming out of both my mom and my dad belonging to two different groups.
All right, all right. So you say on your father's side, he's basically from the Fanti and the Ga. All right, and you say on your mother's side, she's Awe, and what else was it?
Ikuapim. Ikuapim is an Akan tribe, which is located in the eastern region of Ghana, like towards more like I'll say like Abri. They're also on a Akan tribe. They also fall under the Akan clan, just like the Fantis and the Ashantis. But they speak a different dialect of tree, which is very similar to the Ashanti tree, but has its own like differences.
Understood, understood. Okay, so what was your experiences growing up within Ghana? What did you learn? How is it different? And how was you able to connect that cultural relationship to what you did through your research and studying the Bible?
Honestly, living in Ghana and growing up in Ghana was an experience because growing up in Ghana, like honestly, I keep telling everybody that I meet out here, like Ghana is extremely fun
Hmm.
because it has its negatives and positives. You know, the poverty is extremely high, but everybody has a smile on their face. Like you meet people who are literally selling gum on the street, but once they hear music, they start dancing to the music. You know, like nobody goes around with like a spirit of anger or like thinks so much about their poverty. It's like everybody is free spirited. So that's one thing I love about living in Ghana. It's like it's an amazing place. It's a beautiful place, beautiful food, and I just love it out there. But growing up in Ghana, it was more of like I was born into a Christian home where, should I say, a very, very strong Christian background. So from birth, I started going to Sunday school. I've been going to Sunday school. I was so involved in Sunday school. I was so involved, even growing up as a teenager, I was so involved in getting involved in the church, in church activities. So pretty much my entire life it has always been like school and church, But alongside the way, it's very interesting. Sometimes life takes you in a different path where I came across, some friends, and
Hmm.
I'm not a perfect person.
Right,
I
right.
had my bad, I've had my bad ways, and as much as I was brought up in a Christian home, I definitely had my bad ways,
We all do.
and that's what we say. But yeah, it's crazy. But growing up in that background is very interesting. Like comparing that to now and the kind of knowledge I know, honestly, it kind of upsets me sometimes. But then again, it's like I don't blame the people that led me into this faith and into this belief because I feel like they were very ignorant themselves. You know, because after watching your page the very first time, I had a conversation with my mom, and we're having a conversation. I brought up a couple of stuff from your page, and surprisingly, she was very amazed. And it was one thing she told me. She's like, you can't get mad at these pastors. You can't get mad at these evangelists because they are ignorant themselves. So I understand. So it really makes sense. Like growing up from Ghana and comparing the stuff that I know now and actually finding out that our or like so I remember telling you that I came across this old man who was telling me, pretty much a lot about Ghana and our history, and not based on what we've been told in our education system. Because Ghana has a very, in my opinion, Ghana has a very funny education system where it's like Ghana, in my opinion, still is still living under colonization.
Hmm.
Kind of hard for people to accept, but in my opinion, yes, we are. Because we don't speak our own language. People truly don't want to be, even Ghanaians don't want to be Ghanaians. They don't want to eat the local food. They rather prefer pizza and burger over the local food, which is embarrassing to me. It's like, what are we becoming? We're actually becoming what we're not supposed to be becoming. So, in my opinion, it's like it'd be a great thing, if people could sit down and look into the education system, because we learn so much about foreign stuff than actually who we are. And for some reason, it's like I said, I really can't be mad and I can't be upset because majority of the people are ignorant of who they are. Majority, like the kind of stuff bro. If you should go to Ghana, in my opinion, you should be made a chief in Ghana.
Hmm.
You should be teaching the people because the people don't know half the stuff that you teach.
So you saying so you saying it's a is it a so would you say it's a lot of our brothers and sisters over there that you know of that would you say they it's a lot of them that are aware of this truth, or would you say it's a few that's aware of this truth?
Very few.
Very few.
Bro, I wouldn't even say 10% of the population. A very, a very few. I don't even think even the kings, maybe to extent, let me not exaggerate, but maybe to some extent, maybe some kings and queen mothers would know, but like the majority of the Ghanaian population, I'll say about 90%, 90 to 95% don't have the knowledge about what you talk about.
Now, when it comes to not knowing that
I'm
knowledge,
sorry.
would you think it is because of recent colonization, the traumas and the after effects of the slave trade? Would you say it's because of that, or would you just say it's because of I guess you can say something other than that? So is it like a side effect from the colonial masters, them coming in, messing up the history, changing things around?
So much so, yes, I blame it all on colonization because so much so now the people don't even want to be who they are. It's like you have Ghanaians in Ghana that would prefer their kids speaking English than speaking Ga or Tree. Like I went to a school where it was forbidden to speak Tree or Ga at school. You had to speak English at school. Now when you get out of school, you can speak whatever language you want to speak. So speaking Ga and speaking Tree was like the home language. But when you came to school, you had to speak English. So it's to me, and I feel like that's what colonization has done. It has changed the mindsets of the people to not be proud of who they are, but want to be like the white man. I'm sorry to say, but that's how I look at it.
Right. So you say even it's even so messed up to the point that within you all school systems, you're not even speaking your native language, Twi or anything like that, but you're speaking English and British and things of that sort. Wow.
So much
Okay.
so you have kids in Ghana learning Chinese.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's backwards.
It's extremely backwards, and I feel like it stands from a place of the people not knowing who they are. You know, the old man I met, the old man I met a couple of months ago told me a lot of things, and luckily enough, he was interviewed on a Ghanaian TV station, and I hope that the people will learn from what he said on the. Because pretty much it's like from either the stuff that he taught me in correlation to the stuff that you were teaching, and and to some of the research that I did on my own, it all came in a full circle to make me understand that we really are who we are, but our story has been extremely distorted. And even reading some of the chapters and some of the pages from your videos and making the correlation, with like Bible scriptures and other stuff, it made me understand like we are a lost people. We really are a lost people, and it's taken a very few to actually know who we are. And I feel like this is the true gospel that needs to be spread across the world.
Agreed. Agreed. So
This what you're doing is truly the true gospel that needs to be spread across the world.
yes, I definitely agree that the world needs to be, let know or given the knowledge of who the Most High's people is, and what happened to them, their history, because even a lot of us ourselves don't even know our history, and it takes a while for us to even figure it out as a whole. So, for you, what would you say was the main reason you were able to just be like, okay, I understand. What made you fully believe that we are the Israelites, or certain West African tribes and peoples?
So I think number one it was Deuteronomy 15. Because if you don't mind, I'm just gonna grab my Bible real quick and read it. If you don't mind.
Oh no, I don't mind. Go ahead.
So Deuteronomy 15, which honestly has become like one of my favorite Bible scriptures, because
Yes, a lot of Israelites over here like to go to the book of Deuteronomy. that they say was a book that helped them wake up, essentially, the book of Deuteronomy.
So I'm gonna read from chapter 15, and I'm gonna read from chapter 15, and I'll just try to read the whole chapter as fast as I can. So it says, at the end of every year's, okay, matter of fact, I'm just gonna start from chapter 15, verse 7. So he says in verse 7, um, if anyone is poor amongst the Israelites, where am I reading from?
I can't hear you if you're talking, brother.
Um, so pretty much, I don't know. Deuteronomy 15, it just talks about how Abraham went up onto the hill, and God promised Abraham to give unto Abraham a land, a piece of land. And so Abraham questioned God and asked him, how do you expect me to believe that you're going to give me this land? So pretty much he kind of like challenged God as to how God was going to give him this land. And so God told Abraham to do a couple of rituals with animals.
Hmm.
So that was the first thing. And the way he asked him to do the ritual was actually one of the first things that caught my eye. Because that is how we do some of our, traditional rituals.
Wow. Wow.
And surprisingly, it's like we have been programmed or we have been told that the way we worship our God, is evil and that we shouldn't worship those gods. So moving forward, that made me realize, like, wait, Abraham really just, God told Abraham to do these things just like the way we do these things in Ghana. And then also, the second thing was Abraham not having any, children of his own. God, he asking God telling him that I'm going to, have you're going to flourish. Your grandchildren are going to flourish, pretty much occupy the entire earth. And then he asked God again, how am I supposed to believe this? And then God told him, come outside and count, and count onto the stars. And if you can count the stars, that's the number of, the amount of number of descendants you're gonna have.
Hmm.
And the stars are uncountable. So that's the second thing that caught my eye. Black people are the largest race in the world. You can't count black people.
That's a good. That's a good observation. Definitely.
We literally like the stars. So I'm like, oh wow. So then it goes on to say that after Abraham, doing his ritual, in the middle of his sleep, before he woke up, God came to him and told him that I will send your descendants onto slavery on a land they don't belong to for 400 years. And after 400 years, they will come out with great possession. So now I look back, I'm like, okay, wait. In 2019, Ghana approximately, did the year of return, inviting all Africans in the diaspora to come back home. And they dubbed it as quote unquote the 400 year, approximately 400 year, which we all know has been longer than that, of slavery.
Hmm.
So in 2019 they did that. So I'm like, wait. So I sit back and I'm like, this makes sense. God told Abraham that he would take his descendants into slavery, you know, on a land they do not belong to. Black people don't. This is not where we're from. And when I say this is not where we're from, I don't want it to seem like all black people come from Africa, because globally we occupy this earth, and not just Africa. Globally,
Th-
all black people
Thank you.
occupy this
Thank
because
you.
exactly, in
The
my
whole the
opinion,
whole globe was melanated.
yeah, the whole globe was melanated. It was not just Africa. That is why the Akans, the origin of the name Akan, it comes from a tree word that states it become four. It's like a sentence. It become four, and it become four means the first people.
Right. Right.
So that is where a decan, is where you get the come from. So yeah, it's a fact. We are the first people globally, and not just located in Africa. So that's one thing I realized. It just made me understand the majority of the black people, that were brought here, were brought, into slavery, and then after 400 years, God turns around and try to invite these people back home. I'm like, is this prophecy just, revealing itself gradually? So, I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist. I know a lot of people might be like, it doesn't make sense, but it really does make sense. If you sit back and pay attention, all of these things add up to certain things where it's extremely mind blowing, and it's not just for the common mind. And as much as everybody needs to know, I feel like some people, the truth must be hidden from some people, you know. But then it also comes back to me realizing that so it was Deuteronomy 15 that also made me realize. And then in Revelation, in some part of Revelations, God, it was stated in some part of Revelations also, it was stated, God stated, and it was saying that um, it was a group of people who have taken over the synagogue of the Jews, and that He will punish He will punish them.
Those who say they are
Exactly.
Jews.
Exactly. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with that scripture.
Yes, yes.
So it makes me realize, like, yeah. So a lot of these people that go around claiming they are what they are, they're not. But the funny thing about it is, talking to the old man who's really taught me a lot. He let me know that there are people in Ghana, that are truly practicing what the ancients were practicing. And this needs to be publicized. We need to do away with all religion, especially foreign religion, and actually go back to what our ancestors were doing. And when you talk about some of these things with Ghanaians, I could tell you, bro, Ghanaians would not accept this thing I'm saying right now. Because I feel like they've been so brainwashed and been in a state of ignorance where it's like when you bring up some of these topics, they look at you like you're from the devil.
That's how they do us over here too. I don't want to hear none of that. You the devil. That's the devil's work right there.
You know? But the thing about it is, one thing I've also come to realize, right, which the old man told me, he said, he said, in the end, there's a narrow path that a small amount of people will go on, and it's a large path that a lot of people will go on. And if you look at this world, a lot of people are on that large path. It is only a few people that are talking about what you and I are talking about. So if anything, we are the ones on the narrow path. If you think about
Say that last part one more time, brother. You broke up at the end.
it, oh, sorry. I was saying that in this world, I've come to realize that there's a narrow path and there's a large path, and the majority of people are going to be on that large path, and it's just a small amount of people that will be on that narrow path. And looking at this world, it's just a small amount of people that are doing what you and I are doing right now. So I strongly believe that we are on that narrow path.
Understood, understood. So you stated that, you made a lot of cultural connections and just a lot of common sense, connections with what you saw through the scripture and the history around you, such as the 400-year prophecy. A lot of us here in America woke up around that 400-year prophecy time and even before that. So, but one thing that did catch my eye or my attention that you said is when you was reading, you notice that the Most High instructed Abraham to do a ritual or a custom that you have witnessed amongst your people. And my question would be, why do you think it is? A lot of the people in Ghana, like the Akan or the Ga, and those type of groups, why do you think it is they were able to preserve this ancient history or these ancient traditions up to this day?
So one thing I've come to realize also is, like, as much as a lot of stuff were written on tablets, Africans are more in tune into like orally giving out history, and also through like training. So let's say if if I was born in let's say in a God traditional family, at the age of about two from birth, there's a birth ritual that they do.
Mm.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the girls have a birth ritual that they would do, and then as time goes on, when you grow, there's also a ritual that they would do. So and there's also a twin ritual that they do for all twins. So that's how I come to realize that these people were able to preserve their culture through like orally and also through passing on to like generation onto generation onto generation. But the funny thing about it is this display of culture growing up in Ghana was not mainstream. Like as much as I grew up in the crowd, I speak the Ghana language and everything. I have never in my life been to a Ghana festival
Wow.
because it is forbidden in a Christian home.
Mm-hmm.
They look at it as like those are it's a funny it's a song that they sing in Ghana, right? And it goes like our ancestors used to worship like idols and evil spirits, but we have found Jesus and so we have been saved.
Wow. That's must be a
And
recent song right there. That's a recent song.
and this is a song that like majority of Ghanaian Christians sing, you know, and it's when you really think about it, it's like, damn, like what has happened to us? So much so it's like people. So when you find people that go to like these kind of I've come to realize it's like now it's become more acceptable for Christians to want to go to these kind of festivals because now they want to belong to their culture, kind of. But even the majority still don't want to mess with it because they look at it like, no, they don't want to do that, because they look at it like, oh, now we got to go and pour libation and kill a chicken, kill a cow. But the funny thing about it is, people don't understand these things. They think, oh, we're killing animals for the gods to eat. But the funny thing about it is, okay, so if we're killing. So when I was talking to the old man, right? He really opened my eyes on a lot of things, and he asked me a question. He said, so if we as humans are killing animals for the gods to eat, who were the ones killing or cooking for the gods prior to the gods creating humans?
That's a good question.
Exactly. And so he made me understand that the gods don't eat these animals. But in actuality, what it is they need pretty much like purified animals, like animals that don't eat bloods. So if you find a goat, goats eat herb. They don't eat blood, like lions or like other like carnivores. They don't, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Yeah, like goats eat herbs. So those sheep eat herbs, cows eat herb. Those are the kind of quote unquote like these purified animals, that a god would want. And so therefore, when they kill these animals, pretty much it's like because we are limited as humans and we have fallen from our original state and that and we're fallen into a state of human, now we need a form of like a medium to send a message to God. So pretty much we're using this animal's spirit to tell the animal whatever we want to tell God, and this purified animal will tell God whatever we want to tell him. Does it make
So that last part again, you said that does that make sense?
sense? So I was saying that when they kill these animals, right, for ritual purposes, the gods, the intended thought is that we are killing these animals so the gods could eat. But in actuality, it's not because the gods want to eat this animal. But we as humans, we are limited in our being, and so therefore we are taking these purified animals and killing them and using their spirit as a means of communication between us and God. So pretty much when they make these rituals and kill these animals, they say certain things onto the animal. And so when the animal is slaughtered, it carries a spirit beyond, to deliver whatever message it is to God.
Understood. So during your experiences or your time within Ghana, were you able to experience or see any libation rituals or slaughtering of goats or lamb or sheep or anything of that sort?
Yes, in a few places, because I noticed, even surprisingly, like a lot of people don't know, but even the Muslims do the same thing. Because even before they celebrate their festivals, when they kill the cow, they say certain words onto the cow before they kill those cows.
That's that Abrahamic faith right there.
Exactly. But the funny thing about it is people don't understand. I've come to understand that a lot of people practice things that they don't truly understand as to why they practice those things. They just look at it as like, oh, it's been left to us by our forefathers. Our forefathers were doing this, so we're doing it too. But why are you doing it? You know? And going back to like for example, like going back to Deuteronomy 15, um, after Abraham waking up, out of his sleep, it says that he saw a fire in a what do you call it, in a pot rising up, and it went through an animal.
Hmm.
And so that fire, I've come to realize from my studies, this is just my opinion. I've come to realize that that fire is what a lot of people, or should I say like that fire is what the people or the Israelites at that point um signified as God. So it wasn't God, but should I say they used fire? I say significance of God. And so the word fire in tree is called Jah, which is Gya in the tree spelling.
Repeat that one more time for them, brother.
So I was saying that from my studies, I've come to realize
No,
that
I was just talking
the
about the part where you was mentioning the fire word and the Twi
the
language.
word yeah, the tree language of the fire in tree language would be Jah. You
Hmm.
know, so you hear people say Jah or Uja or Ija, but Ija could mean father or fatherhood.
Understood.
So these words are very. And funny thing, I've come to also realize that the tree or these African languages, especially the Ghanaian, are very tonal. So the word Ja means fire, right? And so also I come to realize that Abraham represented God as, or God revealed Himself to Abraham in the significance of fire. And so did He do to Moses on the mountain. So these people, I've come to realize that they, in as much as they didn't know who God Himself was, as as a physical being, like I know who you are, or I'll see pictures of you, or anything,
Hmm.
they signify God using fire. In my opinion, I think that is where the Rastafarians get their Jah from, which signifies fire. Because from my studies, like they say like Jah
That,
Rastafari.
that that makes sense as well because a lot of the Rastafarians are of a kind.
Yeah, and from my studies, I also learned that the Egyptian word for Ra was the sun, and
Hmm.
sun and fire definitely have a correlation.
Okay, that's a good observation right there. And you was
So
mentioning. Go ahead.
like I said, like that has been one of my observations, and yeah, that's like I said, it may not be facts, but this from my studies and from these scriptures in comparison to the African culture and the Akan culture, yeah, I feel like yes, it may be highly related to the significance of God being represented as fire.
All right, I got you. So, earlier you was talking about specific traditions and cultures that you seen, and one of them was on the I guess you could say the subject of libation. So what I'm gonna do is play a quick video and get your thoughts on it. And while I'm playing the video, if anybody have any questions for the brother, please put them in the chat. And we'll get them answered at the end. All right. So I'm about to play this video real quick and get your thoughts on it.
So to find ancient Israel in Africa, you should look for people who have the libation pouring or drink offering as part of their culture. This lead from Isaiah 30 narrows the search to Central and West Africa, where libation pouring plays a big part in their culture and customs. Let's watch this video and pay attention carefully to what the priest is saying. That was the high priest, Ewolomo, and he's dressed according to instructions given to Moshe for the priests. The first thing he does, if you notice, was he raises up the alcoholic beverages and then utter these words. Wobolomawu, our creator Mawu, our creator the Most High. You see, we have kept these customs since the Most High gave them. We don't just quote scriptures. We show you scriptures.
We just don't quote scriptures, we show you scriptures. How you feel about that, brother? Do you agree with that?
Yes, that is very true. That is very true. And I've actually watched a couple of videos by that young man. I mean, I'm sorry, not to call him a young man, but that man. Um, that video right there tells you a lot in itself. Cause before, I'll say about approximately like 6 months ago, I was watching a video of this girl from South Africa, and she happened to be talking about, ancient Egyptian culture, and she happened to mention the word ma. Like, I think in their culture they call it like Manu.
In reference to the name of the Most High?
I
Yes,
think in
yes.
South Africa they call it like Manu or something like that. I'm not too sure. But then it sounded very, very, very similar to Mawu. But Mawu in itself is an Ewa word in reference to God. So it is not a God word. God used it also because we all, in my opinion, like we're all Israelites together. But the word in itself, Mawu comes from the Ewa tribe.
So the word Mawu comes from the Ewe tribe. Okay.
The Volta region of Ghana, and yes, and in my opinion, I think their from my studies, their language was the language that they spoke.
Say that last part one more time. You broke up.
I was saying from my studies, the Ewa language was the language that both Adam and Eve spoke.
See, that's the thing about a lot of the tribes' languages. You can find a lot of correlations, a lot of similarities, a lot of links, a lot of proverbs, a lot of everything within the language that would show you that these people at one point in time were part of that original Israelite cluster, and some of that language trickled down into what they are now. So I can definitely agree with that.
So that word, I'll say, I know for a fact it's an Ewa word in reference to God, because my grandmother is of the Ewa tribe. So I don't speak Ewe as good as both Tree and Ga, but I do understand, and I could partially communicate in Ewe also. So yes, I do know that word is in reference to God. Yes, for sure, for sure. But also, like he said, like from what the man said, it's like every move, like for better understanding, every move that the high priest made in the video has a deep understanding. Like raising up the drink up to the sky is, from my understanding, is one of the most important things you need to do,
Mhm.
because now you're calling the heavenly Father. So you raise it above, and then above you, and then you raise or the ground. So you're calling both, God of above and God of the earth. And I've also come to realize also from, like I said, in the Akan tribe, they refer to God as Kwame. And I don't, I, I'm not too sure, but I'm pretty sure anybody can check that out because I'm not. You could easily Google this. I'm not too sure, but I think Kwame must be a Saturday born, like a male,
Hmm.
a man born on Saturday. And I'm not too sure, but anybody can Google this. Like you could just Google Africa, like Akan names by the day, and it will show you.
Right, right.
And yes, and so we refer to God above as a male figure, and then we refer to the earth as a feminine energy, or should we say like a feminine God? Yah, which I know for sure it's a woman or a girl born on Thursday. So just like he did, in the ritual, he'd have to, you know, um, give reference to the masculine figure of God and also the feminine figure of God.
Hmm.
Yes, and then proceed to give his things, and after giving his things, you could proceed to make your request.
Okay, understood, understood. So, from your research, from your already knowledge you have, your experience within Ghana, what would you say are some things that are similar between all the tribes, such as the Akanda, the Ewe, the Ga, Yafanti? What are some similarities that those tribes all have? Is there language similarities, customs, culture? You know,
Number one, I'll say is the point of libation.
point of libations one.
Yes, every tribe. I'm yet to see a tribe in Ghana that doesn't pour libation.
And of course, if you need any libation references, you can find that throughout Leviticus,
Oh,
Deuteronomy, Exodus, things of that sort.
that is very true. Because surprisingly, I even had the old man. The old man read me a couple of scriptures, if I'm not lying, I think from Leviticus, where he was talking about, God, even himself referring to the people, telling people to pour down, libation for him. So this is what I say. It's like you should, like from the video, right? You could tell this was probably like at the time of, I'll say from like the Homoa Festival, which
Mhm.
is usually celebrated in August. I'll say like late August into September. And not to deviate from what I'm saying, but I actually didn't know that the Jewish calendar also starts and ends around that time.
It's exactly similar,
I did
yeah,
not know that.
yeah.
So one time, it's crazy. I think it was in August this year where I was talking to a friend of mine in Ghana. He was telling me about the Homo War. So I ended up watching a couple of videos on and about YouTube, and I was telling my girlfriend about it. I was like, "Oh, can you believe that the Ghana people, their New Year, like it ends around August and starts around September?" And she was like, "Yeah, that's just like the Jewish calendar." And I'm like, "Are you sure?" And she's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Oh, snap!" So it makes sense now. It makes a whole lot of sense. And the reason why they do that is because so pretty much the Homoa is celebrated in reference, it's in like to pretty much like embarrass the
Hmm.
state of hunger.
Hmm.
In the state at one point the people were in an extreme state of hunger, and so therefore God gave them um should I say like I'm guessing some form of instructions to perform, and they performed it. And so during that time every year they perform these or they celebrate the Homo Festival, in reference to how God has saved them from hunger and how they're entering into the new year, you know, fruitful.
Yes, yes, that's true. And even a lot of scholars and researchers, writers, and things of that sort have compared the Homo Festival to Passover. So
Yeah, yeah. It's surprising. I actually had this man also make the same statement.
Yeah, so we see a lot of culture connections within Ghana.
Yeah, like I was saying, like number one is the point of libation. That is like the most. I'm yet to see a tribe in Ghana that doesn't, that doesn't pour libation. We all pour libation.
And
You
let me
know,
ask you a quick question. Speaking of libations, have you ever saw one of these American movies? I guess you could say hood movies of us in it, and we pouring out alcohol, we pouring out
yeah,
liquor on
dead
the
homies.
graves, and it's like, where did we get that knowledge from? You get what I'm saying? It's just like culture, knowledge, past knowledge, just passed down with us not even knowing that it goes back to Old Testament, customs. Even though we might be doing it a little different now, it still goes back to that ultimate root, which was in the scripture.
That is so true. That is so true. That's what I'm saying. It's like, in as much as it's like we do, in as much as we kept onto our culture and we do certain things, it's a lot of things that we do that we truly don't understand as to why we do these things. It's like we just do them because it's been passed on from generation to generation. But exactly as to why we do these things, we don't know. We don't know. We just do them because our fathers were doing it, our great grandfathers were doing it. But now I feel like it's about time for the people to actually have an understanding and a better understanding as to why we do the things we do and why we need to keep these cultures.
That's true. That's true. That's true. All right. So let me see. Let me see. G Money states the first God King, i.e., Kushi, was strongly opposed to fetish religion and advised his people to serve the one true God. Are you familiar with Kushi, i.e., Kushi?
Okay. I've really not heard the entire story
Hmm.
about Ni Ayikushi, but what I could also say is even some like Ghanaian traditions have deviated from like the true culture. Because you would find some um for example that you find like a group of people in the Ewa tribe, right?
Hmm.
Or even the India Khan tribe that for some reason have deviated from the true like calling, and now it's like they're inciting or calling onto like some form of like marine spirits,
Hmm.
which in the culture we call like mame water, you know, which that is not what the Israelites are supposed to do. Our God is the God above. That's one thing I've come to realize. Like all cultures of this world had their own God. Like the Babylons had Baal, we had our God. You know,
Exactly.
and our God has stated specifically to us that He is a jealous God, and we should not be worshiping anybody but Him. And so now, when you have Israelites of today that want to worship other gods, I feel like that is exactly why we're in the state we're in, because we have lost a true, calling. And so now
Exactly.
it's like you have so many, I just say black people, that go around. And I'd applaud like African Americans, like I really gotta applaud. Because I feel like Africans Americans actually go out of their way to search for the culture and to, search for where they truly belong. Unlike Africans, Africans don't do that. Because as much as they live in the culture, they don't care about the culture. African Americans don't live in the culture, but are willing to study and learn more about the culture,
Hmm.
which is very
Hmm.
impressive. Yeah, so that's one thing I really gotta applaud you on. Like, y'all really go out of y'all way to like try to learn so much about African culture, even though you don't live on a continent. Meanwhile, you have people that live on a continent that are not, into the culture like that, and don't want to do anything with the culture. So just like the comment said, I feel like there's a lot of people that have deviated from the true calling. Just like Nia said, if he's right, that they should have been, actually practicing the true culture.
Hmm.
Talking to the old people, I asked them, I'm like, so what do we need to do as a people or Ghanaians to actually go back to the true culture? And he said we need to go back to the Levites. I mean, the Levites. And I'm like, Levites, that's the Israelite tribe. And he
Wait, say that again. Say that again. Say that again, brother.
He was telling me that for us to truly go back to our true state, we need to go back to the Levites.
Hmm.
And so I asked him, I'm like, who are the Levites? And he said, those are the Ewa tribe.
He said those are the airway tribes.
Yes.
Okay.
And even then, amongst the Ewa tribe, you have some people that have the true culture distorted. But there are also some people, when you get there, all they have is their altar and they just do what they do. They are truly practicing genuine practice. But then you also have others that call on to like all sorts of like marine spirit and like other like spirits that do not matter or do not relate to our culture,
Hmm.
or do not relate to the Most High, I should say, you know.
Yes, yes, and we know when things like that happen, we know that's just because of migration, a mingulation with other tribes and things of that sort. And one thing I found very interesting is that people like this start off with the Khan. They have their oral traditions of coming from north of Egypt, which would be Israel. Coming down through Ethiopia, going west across the Sudan. So does the guy, so does the airway. And it's just funny because all these people who have these so-called, oral traditions stating that they migrated from Israel, it's the same tribes that we see with these, Old Testament Judaic customs. And that for me right there just, proves or just solidifies the fact, when they're telling you these, through their oral traditions, through their oral migratory routes, that they came from this location, and they're even still practicing it to this day, even after slavery and colonialism.
So I think it even goes back to I was watching this man, who I believe is an African American anthropologist,
Hmm.
but has studied Ghana so much, and so he was on a Ghanaian TV station. I'll try to share that link with you like later on, but he was talking about how the people one were astrologers and astronomers, you know, who were into astrology, and because one thing, and when he said that, I had like my slight doubt, but then also I also realized that when so Ghana is is shaped in a form where it's like all the tribe is like 10 regions, or should I say like 10? We don't call them states, we call them regions, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
for a better understanding, I'll say like we have 10 states, right? And in these 10 states, you have come to realize that all the tribes belong to like each state. So like let's say for example, like you have Arizona, you have the Gans located strictly in Arizona. So the Gans are located in the Greater Accra region of Ghana, and they have occupied that part, which is like the main city, the capital city. So they own that land, right?
Right.
And then you have the Edwards who have occupied the Volta region, and they own that land. And then you have the Ashantis who have occupied the Ashanti region, and you have the Northerners. I'll say like the Mosi, the Bani, the pretty much I'll say the majority like Islam populated groups have been located in the north, which in they also have like indigenous Ghanaian tribes that they belong to, like the Sisali, the Mosi, the Dagbani, the Hausa, which Hausa, in my opinion, is like the Mali tribe. They're very, very like populated. You find them in Nigeria, you find them like a lot of
Yeah.
West African
Yeah.
countries.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so watching the man on the Ghanaian TV station, he made a statement and he actually noted as to how the Gans living on the coastal side would go fishing. These people go fish on water, right? Don't have no GPS, but are able to make it back home every morning after dawn. And they literally land on the shores that they left with no GPS
Hmm.
because they follow the stars. So they the stars, to make their way back home from the ocean when they go fishing. And so when he made that statement, I'm like, oh wow. So then he also went on to say that if you look at the equator, the study of the equator, now on every December 21st and every June 21st, you have the sun on every December 21st making its way back to the northern hemisphere after settling in the in the southern hemisphere. So
Right.
every December 21st, it settles on the southern hemisphere for about 3 days, and about after 3 days, on the 24th, it makes its way back toward the northern hemisphere to give us summer over here. So then, when he made that statement, he also stated that geographically, Ghana sits at the 0 degree angle of the equator. That is
Mm.
where yes, that's exactly where the sun sits for those 3 days. So the people knew exactly what they were doing when they moved all the way from northern Egypt or from Egypt to, because they could have went anywhere else.
Ah, okay, okay, okay. So,
Specifically, because they were led by the sun and the
that's
stars
what I was just
to
about to
settle.
say. Yes,
Yeah,
that's what I was just about to say. I've heard stories of the tribes migrating from the east or from Israel by way of the migration of the sun, by following the sun. So that's very interesting, and I've heard that before.
so specifically, they made. And when you go to Ghana, even like in I'll say like in the outskirts of like Accra, it's a place called Tema, and even in Tema, it's like it's a monument that actually signifies the 0 degree equator of where of the Earth, which is located in Ghana.
Hmm.
So our people didn't just move to where they moved out of you know out of coincidence. They actually knew exactly what they were doing when they moved to where they moved to.
Right, right. Understood, understood. I follow you. So, another question I have for you. So there's been a lot of African Americans repatriating back to Africa, various places, Ghana, Nigeria. A lot of us moved to Tanzania, things like that. So my question to you would be: would you recommend Ghana as a place for us to, repatriate and start, you know, I guess you can say, getting reckon with our tribesmen, getting things reset up over there and just building up the place. So would you recommend Ghana as one of those places?
Yes, I certainly will, and not because I'm Ghanaian. I don't want to sound biased, but I feel like just like Christians have Israel, just like Muslims have Mecca.
1 second, brother. 1 second. Let's see. 1 second. Let's see if I can. Okay, they're saying they're having complications. Hearing you say something,
Can you guys hear me?
you just a little low right now. Let's see.
Hold on. Hello.
Let me see if I can do something.
Let me try to grab my other headphone real quick. That might be.
1 second, family. 1 second, family, while we get this situated.
Huh?
All right. So, you can go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, that's much better.
So
Much
like
better.
I okay okay. So like I was saying, just like Christians have Israel, that they feel like they all need to go see or go to every year, and just like Muslims have Mecca that they go to every year, I feel like Ghana should be the place for all Black people, and not
Hmm.
because I'm Ghanaian, because I feel like Ghana holds a true, rich culture that encompasses like civilization globally. You know, because when you hear about some of these European anthropologists talking about the Egyptian pyramids, and you hear some of these names can be found in the Ghanaian tribes,
Hmm.
you know? But the funny thing about it is our story is really it's like number one, we don't know who we are. And even if you tell the people who they are, it's hard for them to accept because they've been told that it's a group of other people and not them. They've been brainwashed to believe that it is not them. So in my opinion, yeah, Ghana is it's certainly like a first step for all. I feel like Ghana should be a place all black people. You don't need to live in Ghana. You don't need to live in Ghana, but you need to visit Ghana as much as you can.
Understood. Understood.
Yeah.
So a lot of people we moving over there would like to, you know, invest in things, start different businesses. So what's something you think or you could recommend for people to, you know, look into to guess you could say build up, like is there a need
Hmm.
for roles? Is there a need for certain stores, certain products that you know of that, you know, maybe people in the diaspora could come back and assist with?
Um. Yeah. Certainly. Certainly. Because I feel like, as much as people feel like, or people out of Ghana feel like, Ghana is up there. I feel like Ghana is still not up there. It's
Mhm,
still poverty. You know, you still have kids learning under trees,
mhm,
which I feel like, yeah, which is if we want to issue, just a whole bunch of politics I don't want to go into, because the government is to be blamed. But it's even a bigger picture than the government. But then again, it's like there's a lot of people that need help. I feel, in my opinion, and also it's like it's way too many business opportunities if you have the capital, and you're on the ground. One thing I'm gonna tell African Americans is, if you're looking to invest in Ghana, number one, be on the ground. Forget finding trustworthy people. You're the
mhm.
only one you could trust at the moment. So be on the ground. I'm a Ghanaian, and I'll tell you, if you're not on the ground, you will be cheated. If I go to Ghana as a Ghanaian and I'm doing business, I will be on the ground. Regardless, though, even though I have my mom and cousins and other families, no, I'll make sure that I am there personally.
Mhm.
Because yes, Ghanaians, I feel like we are in a state of high corruption. It's like the government is so corrupt that the people, it's trickled down to the ordinary people. So if you're not there yourself, you will be cheated. So you have to be there, make sure your eyes are on everything. You know what you're doing. And one of the biggest ventures I'll tell everybody to go into is farming. You know, in
Like
my
the
opinion,
ancestors.
I'll say farming is one of the biggest things. If not farming, go into, like, if you have the capital, go into like extremely huge, like, industrial businesses. Like how to turn raw materials into products. How to
Right,
turn
right.
corn into cereal, how to turn,
Things like
like,
that.
yeah, because we don't even have a good dairy like system. So if you could, like, start a cow farm and have your own dairy company, that's amazing. That's one my pastor, when I grew up in Ghana, the church that I went to in Ghana, my pastor is actually like one of the biggest dairy producers in Ghana right now. And he's not even on a huge scale compared to America.
Right.
Because not a lot of people drink like fresh milk in Ghana like that. We're still used to drinking like tin milks, the ones in a can, like the
Right. Right.
carnations.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I'll say, honestly, I'll say like farming in general, and not just, sometimes I feel like when I talk about farming to black people don't really like to hear about that because it reminds us of slavery. But the thing about it is, whether you like it or not, farming is a black culture. It is not a
That's
European
why
culture.
they. I'm about to say that's why they picked us up for slavery,
Yeah,
because
you're
we
good
were
at
the
that.
agriculturalists, man. That's
Yeah,
what we,
that's who
we
we
came to
are.
West Africa with. So
So if you're gonna ignore your true calling and your true, like, purpose as a farmer, well, guess what? Bill Gates is gonna feed you. You know.
right, he's gonna feed us.
So yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It's like black people need to understand, like, farming is our thing. And when I talk about farming, I feel like when I talk about farming, also people would think about like farming in the 18, like what farming used to be like back in the day. Bro, it's industrialized farming now. If you can afford machines, you don't even need a lot of people on your farm. Machines do the work. You have
Yes, that's
drones
true.
in these days that literally, like, spray your farm. You can literally stand in one location and fly your drone and spray your farm with your drone. So black people, I feel like farming is our thing, and we need to get back to it. So if anybody's looking to invest in Ghana, farming and turning raw materials into, we have so much coffee, we have so much coffee, don't have any coffee industries. We have so much gold, it's trash. You know, you have Chinese people
Mhm.
digging out our gold. You know, we have so, dude, we literally in recent times, Ghana discovered what do you call it? So pretty much it's like the substance for making electronic cars.
Wow, so that was found
Yeah,
within Ghana.
within Ghana. And I'll say in less than 10 years, Ghana discovered petroleum. So it's nothing in Ghana that we don't have. You know, Ghana has about 5,000 minerals under that soil.
Yes, the Most High made sure to send the people where the resources were. That's what he sure did. Make sure to do that. One second, family. I think the brother is froze up real quick, so let me take care of this. Real second, family. My bad. Matter of fact, let me get a video playing until he comes back.
One of the ways in which Judaism has come to the fore in the last 50 or 60 years is because for many Africans, Judaism is uncontaminated by the crimes of colonialism. For them, Christianity is a white religion. It's the religion of the colonial masters. It's full of traditions which are intensely European. But for them, Judaism is not. It's neither contaminated by colonialism, nor is it contaminated by anything to do with the slave trade. So it seems pure, it seems authentic, it seems to speak to their own traditions, it seems to speak to their heart.
All right, family, we still taking care of that, but for the meantime, I appreciate everybody for tuning in today. If you like this, make sure to leave your comments and everything like that. If you have anybody that I can interview, anybody wants to come in and get an interview or anything like that, anybody want to come on and speak or anything, just let me know. We can get that situated. But I have the brother back right now. All right, we back.
Yeah, I'm so sorry about that. I had just had a slight technical difficulty, but
Are you all good, brother?
all right. So yeah, so like I was saying before, in my opinion, I just feel like farming number one because I just feel like agriculture is our thing. You know, we just need to get back to it and how to turn raw products into home products. You know, because I don't understand how Ghana has all these products, but honestly, till we go back to our true ways, it is prophesied. Till we truly go back to our ways, it'll be foreigners that would, that would be reaping all of our resources.
Thank you.
You know,
Thank you.
so we need to go back to our ways, Ghanaians, number one, and we also need to go back to our ways. I'll say as Black people, you know.
Understood. So
Eh,
another good question would be is why do you think there's such a disconnect between, the diaspora and those on the continent or African Americans and quote unquote Africans,
mhm.
scattered Israelites, non-scattered Israelites,
Uh-huh.
whatever you want to say. Why do you think
Yeah.
there's such a disconnect between the two?
Um, in my opinion, I feel like colonization and slavery played a major role.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that programmed it, we need to understand that it was never an easy thing for them to just come to Africa and defeat us. It was never like that. So if we're being told in schools that, oh, and Africans were living in their lands and white people came over and it was not that easy for them. It took them numbers of years, if not, hundreds of years to actually study who we are, to be able to defeat us. Because they knew for certain that these people were spiritually grounded, with the Most High. Africans are spiritual people. So they knew that from the jump. So they knew that in order to break these people would have to break the spiritual background. So they did that from the start. And then from that on, they went on to the strategy of divide and conquer, right? Now, if we've been separated and been, and you have Africans over here and Africans over there, but Africans over here are being told that the Africa you left from is full of poverty. And
Mm-hmm.
the Africa you left is it's a nasty place you never want to go to because it's full of starving kids that have flies all over their face. I would never want to go to a place like that.
That's exactly what they told us, brother.
And to me it's like that is the honest truth. It's like they made the people understand that this is the state of the people living on the continent, which in reality is not. Yes, you do have your state of poverty, just like in every other country. Like when I'm living in Ghana, I don't see quote unquote the trenches of America. All I see is the beautiful lights in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
So they're
Mm-hmm.
creating a perception that their world is better than yours. And for the Africans on this side, they're creating a perception that where you came from is a very nasty place, and that no matter what you're going through in America, you're better off being in America than being over there. You
Understood.
know?
That's exactly how they rolled it out for us.
Yes, that's how I look at it. So I feel like that is where the separation comes from, or that's where like the discord comes from. And so it's like Africans in the diaspora know, like, oh nah, these Africans over there, we cannot even relate to them. They don't even speak English because we've been
Right.
programmed to assume that English, knowing how to speak English, makes you a smarter person, which is really not. Because I've come to understand in recent times that even speaking English is not our language. Because honestly, if just imagine if Africans or African Americans in America had their own language, it's a lot of things we could do that a lot of people wouldn't understand. But we can't even do that. We can't even hold a secret meeting because they would understand exactly what we're talking about.
Thank you. Thank you. That's a good point. That's a good point.
So as a people, we need to understand that we have lost one, our spirituality, our culture, and our language. And once you lose these three things, that's it. You're entrapped. You know, there's no meeting African Americans can hold in this country that foreigners or white people wouldn't understand. We speak their language, the language they gave to us, and we speak it so better than our own language.
That's
You
true.
know,
That's true. That's
it's
true.
sad. So it's like, how then do we hold a secret meeting without them not understanding it? So that's one thing I'll say. So I feel like the separation just comes from it's just playing. Have these people not like this group, and have this group not like this group, knowing very well we're both of the same group.
Exactly. They did a very good job at pinpointing us
Oh yeah,
against each
excellent,
other.
excellent,
Like you said,
excellent job.
they show us commercials, different things like that. Put it in
Mm-hmm.
movies, education system. We not even taught about anything prior to slavery. We not taught about
Mm-hmm.
the Akwamu kingdom or the God kingdoms or about Edway land. We not taught none
Yeah.
of these things. We just
Mm-hmm.
taught 1619, Harriet Tubman, Martin Luther King,
Yeah.
those type of figures. So
Yeah.
that's definitely a big reason to why there's such a discord between the two.
Yeah. And like I said, like I feel like it has always been like the educational system. But then again, it's like it's a lot of people that also don't blame because my mom a few weeks ago just found out about Masa Musa.
Hmm.
And yeah, my mom is like a renowned speaker on television. So I'm like, how did you just find out about Masa Musa? Because she's a very prominent person in Ghana. I don't want to mention her name, but she's very prominent in Ghana, and she speaks on like pretty much like relationship stuff and
Hmm.
healthy marriage. She's a counselor, so that's what she does.
Right. Okay.
But historically, she knows nothing about her culture. I can tell
That's
you for a fact.
usually. Go ahead.
Historically, she knows nothing about her culture. Even my grandmother, being on Airway, I remember asking her one time that if she knew where the Airway tribe were from, and she couldn't really, give me um like a definite answer. So then I happened to tell her about how we came out of Mesopotamia and how we are actually the people that ended up naming China. out of the Ewa language, etina, meaning water, like water giving, in reference to, what God or the Most High giving us, water when we were thirsty. So the word China comes from the Ewa word like etina or tina,
Mhm.
but it's pronounced China, which translates to water giving. So our people lived in all these parts of the world and named all of these things. The River Jordan was named by us.
Yes, and that's something I read over within this book. I recommend. It's a very extremely hard book to find, but if anybody can get their hands on it, man, it's called the Akan, the movements from Canaan to Ghana, right? And it's not just based on the Akan. It's basically talking about all the tribes in Ghana and how essentially they migrated from these Near Eastern places and ended up in Ghana. So they speak on the Akan migrations. They speak on, the Ga Adambe migrations. They speak on the Ewe migrations. And it's mentioned that, some of these tribes did spring out of Mesopotamia, especially during that Babylonian exile and came down into, Africa, Western Africa, Ghana today. But like I said, that's a very good book that goes in on the Ghanaian history. It talks about the Mo Dagbani, different tribes like that. So it
Yeah,
talks about the Gur, a lot of Ghanaian tribes.
yeah. And also speaking to the old man I was telling you about, he also taught me one thing and made a correlation as to how the people refer to God as um the word, you know, because it says in the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word was God, right? Now, if you want to translate the word like word into tree, is asem. You say asem, which is ASEM. So ASEM is asem, which means word. But then in recent Hebrew, the recent Hebrews would refer to their God as Hashem.
Hashem. Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah. So he told me that, during the Abrahamic era, the people never saw God, but they heard, oh, no, during the Moses era, which is, um, if you do your history, which is Mosi, and Moses was a Wednesday born also. So it's referred to as Kweku Mosi, you know, according to to the research that I did. And still during the era of Moses, they will refer to God as the word, as like he would hear the voice of God or the word will come to him, and then he would be like, he would tell the people, you know, the word has come. Asem no Abba, the word has come. So they refer, in as much as they never saw God, but they heard him, they refer to him as the word. Asem,
And Hashem is what was
exactly,
what we know today. That's a nice
exactly,
correlation. I like that. I
exactly.
like
You
that. That's a
know,
nice correlation. That's a nice correlation.
yeah.
I like that.
So and also Um, but honestly, like a lot of these things are not like, and as much as I do my research to, find the proof of these things, a lot of these things I'm not gonna take credit for myself. I was being taught by somebody else, you
Hmm.
know. So I believe like he has a bigger knowledge and a broader knowledge on, and he's somebody that actually told me that he had a dream, which when he was living in Europe, he had a dream when somebody appeared to him in his dream and gave him everything that he knows right now. So even at some point, when the person came to him in a dream, he did not believe a lot of things that the person said, you know. But it was like a lot of things that the person asked. The first question, the person asked him in his dream was, "Do you know who you are? Or do you know who the true Israelites and the Jews are?" And he was like, "Oh, it must be Netanyahu and his people." It was like, "No, it's not. It's you and your people." So pretty much was there. He began his studies, and the man would come in his dreams and reveal a lot of things to him. So from there, he started teaching other people, and I happened to be one of his I happened to be one of his students, luckily enough, and I picked up a lot of knowledge from him. So one of the things he also made mention was he had this book written by the Jehovah's Witness, And in that book written by Jehovah's Witness, it refers to Noah as Menu, the name Noah as Menu, and this was way before, like we're talking about AD. But it's a book researched by the Jehovah's Witness, and in that book they refer to Noah as Menu, and Menu is an Akan name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes back to to us understanding that our calling on this planet is just like the Akan name, Edikan, for we are the first people, and so we
Right,
need to
right.
take that title as the first people on this planet. And the whole world needs to give us that reference and that respect that we are the first people. Because I feel like it's about time that the world gives us that respect as
And
as to who we are.
quick retouch on something. You said that Noah in the Khan language is what? Say that again.
Menu.
Funny thing is, I'm finna show this real quick for the people. I did a quick search while you said that because that sounded real familiar to me as well. And we see this within the scripture actually. So that Akan word will pretty much go back to this same Hebrew word right here. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. Boom. Meno, right?
Mm-hmm.
Strong's H4496.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds the same, or be that same word essentially. So that's a pretty good connection right there. But you can
Yeah.
continue, brother.
Yeah, but this was actually a research that was done by the Jehovah's Witness. So it's a book written by the Jehovah's Witness, and as some of the true stories in the Bible, in the Bible, and its origin and its true origin. So that knowledge I actually got from the book owned by the man that was written by the Jehovah's Witness. So the funny thing about it is you actually have some Christians out here that know the truth,
Oh yeah.
but are just hard to, it's I just with time, it will come in full circle. But I just feel like we're heading into a time where if Ghana or Ghanaians should come into the true state, we could rule the world again. But I feel like that time is sure to come. What's written is written, and prophecy will definitely reveal itself. But I strongly believe that there is a time where Ghana specifically, and hopefully some other African countries, yes, we are going to be the rulers of this planet.
And I definitely agree with that.
And I strongly believe that the Europeans know that.
Oh, they know.
They know that. And
The
so,
time of the Gentiles is almost up, man.
yeah, it's up, and they know it. And with so many people waking up now, they know it so much so that it's like now they want to force so much like unethical Ghanaian, or should I say like non-Ghanaian customs onto Ghanaians, because
Mhm.
it's like now Ghana has found itself in a state where it's like you're not financially dependent. That's why I say, as much as we claim to be independent, we're not independent. Because if you're independent, there's no way you should be borrowing money from Europeans.
Thank you.
As long as you're borrowing money from Europeans, they still control you. They can tell you when to go to sleep and when not to go to sleep. Sorry, because you're still being fed by Europeans. So therefore, they come into your country and then they tell you to try to implement these laws or these, customs that they have that has nothing to do or that defies your culture. And I feel like currently that is one of the biggest crises Ghana is going through, with Europeans trying to force sexual immorality on the culture, knowing very well this is not part of our culture. But that's I feel like that's a whole different conversation to go into.
Yes, because the Europeans played pretty much crafty counsel. That was one of the main reasons, Christianity was forced upon us. That's one of the main reasons a lot of our people throughout Western Africa in the Americas are all Christians, because that was the religion they forced on us and tried to convert us into, mainly because they knew who we are. You know, they knew who we were, so they tried to use the Bible against us, you know, to try to get us to hate the Bible, essentially.
That's true. That's very
But
true.
let's see, I'm about to play one more video, get your thoughts on it. Everybody in the
Sure.
chat, everybody that's watching, please throw in questions if you have them. We're about to get ready and wrap up this interview. I hope you all liked it. And of course, brother, if you have any questions for me, feel free to ask.
Definitely.
Let's see. Play this video and get your thoughts on it.
You mentioned that they settled at Ile-Ife at a point.
Yes.
I know that the Gans also settled at Ile-Ife.
yes.
So do they have a relation over there?
That's a relationship. In fact, Gad and Dangbe, they are the Gad family from Jacob. You know,
Okay.
Jacob had 12 sons.
Yes.
One is Gad. Gad.
Mm-hmm.
So Gad Adangbe. Gad Adangbe.
Oh, okay.
Then we are the Judah. The rest are the Judah group.
You're from the tribe of
Yes.
Judah.
And even our clans, they are the Levites.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Well, so we all stayed in all Ghana together.
Mm-hmm.
And on the day of migration, they moved southwards. So they entered the forest areas of Ghana. But we went eastwards to Ile-Ife before meeting here again.
Oh, okay.
All right. So the elder there, he mentioned some very key points. And it always seems like when it comes to the Ghanaian tribes, it seems like they all migrated together, or, you know, they have the same migratory routes and things like that. But after watching that, do you agree with the things he stated?
Yeah, I certainly do. I certainly agree with them because schooling in Ghana and, like, you know, going to school in Ghana, our history just like went as far back as we all knew the God tribe was from Ile-Ife in Nigeria. Like that's the furthest away. And we knew the Ewas came from out of Togo, but for some reason it was only the God that truly kept their history as far back as saying like, yo, we came from Israel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, but everybody else were claiming they came from some part of Africa. Like that's the furthest they could, you know, they could go. So yes, with what he said, it certainly makes sense because we came way further, you know, and also knowing that we all settled in the old Ghana Empire together, it's like, yeah. So like I said, it's like majority of Ghanaians do not know the history of Ghana, you know, further back like you do. You know, like you know about Ghanaian histories than some Ghanaian lecturers, historians, some, and it's a fact. You know, like I'm one, I will give credit where credit is due, and you are doing a fantastic job because you have opened my mind to a lot of things where it's like if I never saw your videos, yeah, I would have believed some of these things, but actually watching your videos and making the, you know, the observation and the correlation, it's like everything, like it's like your videos like solidified everything for me. You know, it made me
All
understand like,
praises.
yeah, it made me understand like we really are, you know, who the scripture says we are. It's just the people are ignorant of who they are, so much so that like example, I told my grandmother couldn't even state to me as far back as us coming out of Africa. She couldn't state that. You know, and I feel like it's about time that we go back to a true culture and given this information, if not orally, at least written, because now people could write books, you know? So it's about time we actually write our true history ourselves.
Understood. And I definitely agree with that. We do need to, you know, become accountable as a people, start getting some written history down. And, you know, even with the oral history, we kind of slacked on that. You know, that's
We
why
certainly did.
we don't know our history to a full extent as we do. But, you know, in due time, the Most High shall restore all his people. So with that being said, do you have any final, you know, things you would like to say? Any final thoughts, any motivation to the people out here? Just anything you'd like to say to our people, basically within Americas, Africa, you know, the dispersed ones.
First of all, I just want to say thank you very much for this opportunity, you know, for bringing me on here to share my little knowledge.
All
And
praises, brother.
and thanks for everyone that watched. And um, I just want to say, stay black, stay true to yourself, learn your culture, and just know that European civilization is not true civilization. We were
Thank you.
way civilized before this culture. Because if we claim to be more civilized, why do we die young and the Asians live old? These people were living for hundreds of years. If we're civilized today, we should be living longer than they are, but we're not, you know? And so, my advice to everyone is look, stay true to yourself as a black person, do a whole lot of research, and if you could possibly learn the language, go ahead and learn the language,
Mhm.
because at the end of the day, it will give you a better understanding, to some of the studies you do. And I definitely want to applaud you for the amazing work you're doing and bringing people together and teaching them these amazing things. You're doing an amazing job, and God bless you for what you're doing.
Thank you very much for the kind words, my brother. Thank you very much.
You're
We
very welcome.
definitely appreciate you for coming out. This was a great first interview of mine. And I appreciate you for taking the time out to come on, man. Anytime you want to come on, you're definitely welcome.
Man, we should
And
definitely do
again,
this again. I enjoyed it.
oh yes, we definitely have to, man. We definitely have to. We can sit up here and talk all night, man.
All day, I know.
Yeah. Yes, yes. But again, if anybody has any final questions, go ahead and drop them before we end the chat. Um, any last words one more time, brother, before we head out? Any last words? Anything you want to get off your chest? Any questions? Anything?
Okay, so one of the last things I want to say, based on my research, um, black people globally, this one thing I'm gonna tell you: do not despise Jesus because he's one of you. Because I don't want us to look at Jesus from a Christian setting. Do not look at him through the eyes of the European. Look at him through the eyes of your true culture. Because number one, his name has been distorted. It went from Jesus or Yesu to Jesus. So what is the name? But the name in itself has its true origin, and it's also an account word. So the man's name was Ayesu, and I wouldn't want to say that was a name given to him by his parents. I'll say it was more of like a name given to him, more like a nickname, So the man, Jesus, was a priest, was an African priest. And he would happen to be the first African priest that, because like in the African setting, when you go see a priest and, whatever ritual you do or whatever request you do, you'd have to give an offering. But
Right.
Jesus happened to be the first priest that was never taking any kind of offering. So everything he did for free. Right? And so in the Akan word, in the Akan language, the word for somebody that actually does like a lot of things, like a lot of offering or a lot of like good deeds, would say like, I'll put it like in the form of a sentence, would say like, or yeah, for, meaning this person is a good doer, or a person of good deeds. So a person of good deeds or a person with a character, and the word character means suban, which is short as su. So you can say like, so the word is like, it's two different words put together. So aye means somebody that does a lot of good. So, and su means character. So pretty much it's like the character of a person that did a lot of good things. Aye su.
I got you.
Yes.
Got you.
So
I got
Ayesu turns to Yesu, Jesus, now Jesus.
And that is the name for the Messiah within a Akan language, correct?
Yes. That is what has been distorted now as Jesus. So the last thing I had to say is, for all black people out there, do not look at Jesus through the white man's lens, and do not look at Jesus as the enemy. Yeah, the religion they created out of him is distorted, because our purpose on this earth was truly not to worship nobody. Our purpose on this earth is to live a righteous life, to be able to make it, back to where we came from. But then again, in reference to the Most High, because He is the one that's leading us through this path of life. Yes. And so Black people need to understand that, yes, Jesus truly did exist, but not like the way He's been taught to exist. And even after His existence, Ghanaians believe that He reincarnated to become a whole different priest in the Akan tribe called Okonfo Anokye. So and when you study the Akan tribe and Okonfo Anokye, and when you study the things that Jesus did, it's pretty much like He is our Jesus. If anything, the Akans should be like holding on to Okonfo Anokye, which they believe is the the reincarnation of Ayeshu, which which Europeans call Jesus. So if anything, we should be holding on more to Okonfo Anokye, and instead of this whitewashed Jesus that they have brought to us. So that's one of the last things I'll say. Because I know if I want to go in, we're just gonna be here all night. So
you all heard what the brother said, man. Get the white Jesus out of your head. He was one of us. You know what I'm saying? Look at it. Look at it from the culture. When we read the Bible, we reading the scripture, when we reading Deuteronomy, when we reading Isaiah, when we reading all these scriptures about our people, read it from that standpoint as if it was our ancestors, man.
And one last thing I also love to say is, even when you read in the New Testament in Matthew, I think it talks about when Jesus was talking to His disciples, and He told them, like, I did not come here to do away with the old laws. I just came to implement the old laws. Right. So this old laws that these ancestors, Abraham and Moses were practicing, He did not come to do away with those. Because I feel like sometimes when you talk about Jesus, people want to refer to Him, especially Africans, like, oh, and He came and He died for us, and so the Old Testament should be done away with. No, it should not, because your mother came before you came. So if anything, you should be giving reference to your mother. If anything, we should be giving reference to the Old Testament as much as we do to the New Testament, because even Jesus Himself said it, that He did not come away to do with the old laws. He just came to implement it, and also to remind us to love our neighbors as ourselves. That was His only purpose. That is why He did so much good, because He came to tell us to love our neighbors as ourselves, and to love your neighbor as yourself. It's a broader understanding, because if you wouldn't kill yourself, you would not kill your neighbor.
Thank you.
That's the love He was talking about.
Thank you. And in the words of Yeshua, man, if you knew the laws of Moses, then you would know me. That's what He told it. That's what He told His disciples. If you knew the laws of Moses, then you would know me. Like you said, He didn't come back to destroy the law, but fulfill.
Yes, He did.
All right. And with that being said, family, all praises to the Most High. Thank you for this interview, brother. We appreciated you on the show today.
Thank
and
you.
again,
I
family,
really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All praise to the Most High. And again, family, I will see y'all again this Shabbat for another video. All right. Shalom. Shalom.
Shalom.